I'm Al Stroud, and this video is going to cover the iPhone photo apps. This is the one that is native to the iPhone and is really the best way for an iPhone user to start organizing their photos. All of us are out taking a lot of pictures. It's really wonderful to be able to watch the pictures or look at the pictures you've taken and relive some of those events. So this is the way that iPhone helps you organize them. There are a lot of other ways, but I'm just going to be talking about the Photos app today. So with that, let's get on with it. So now that you can see my screen, I want you to go to the Photos app so that you can sort of follow along with what we're doing. It looks like this. It should be one that you've used, but maybe not. At any rate, this is what we're going to be talking about today, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to tap on that to open it. Yours may look something like this when you open it. The main thing I'm looking for is to get to albums. And you do that by going down to the bottom of your screen, and you'll see a series of 4 icons along here. This one that is the third one from the left says albums on it. If you tap that, you should go to a screen that shows recents. You might also see this screen. If you see one that says recents up here at the top and has the little symbol for albums here, you can just touch that. I'm going to touch that word albums, and you'll see it goes back to give me this screen. All of the pictures that you put in your iPhone reside in this recents album. It may seem a little peculiar that we would call it recents when it contains everything, but it really is all of your photos. The most recent thing you have acted on will be the most obvious thing in this album. So I'm going to just tap on this to open this album up, and then you go back to that screen that I showed you might be at the start. Now what happens with this is the most recent picture I've taken or manipulated or acted on in any way is going to be in the bottom of the screen. And the one I did next before that is going to be here. So this is in order from the most recent I've acted on back to the oldest one. And that doesn't mean it's the most recently taken, because this is not organizing them by date. It is organizing them by when you edited them or scanned them in or downloaded them from somebody else. So don't mistake the fact that it's down here at the bottom right, meaning that it is really the newest. So that's where all of yours reside. But I'm going to go back to albums. I'm going to tap this and go back to my albums page. Once you get to this albums page, you are really where you want to be to start organizing your photos. So albums is what I'm going to start with here. And as you can see, it starts with the recents at the top, and you can see that I have other albums. It's called My Albums, and if I do See All here, it'll change the way they look. But as I scroll up with my finger, you can see it moves, and all of those albums show up here. So I've created a lot of albums. Some of them you can see here. I have one for my photos class. I have one there for my oldest granddaughter's graduation, but just a variety of things. And I've organized them that way so that I can find them when I really need them. I'm going to go back to the start and show you how to create an album. The way you create an album is by going all the way to the top of the albums page, and I've got to go back to the albums page by using this little, touching this little albums at the top of the page. When I get back to my albums, I have a plus here. I'm going to just touch that plus, and you'll see that it pops up a new albums, new folder, and new shared album drop down. I do not use this new folder because that really only works well with a Mac. Now you may want to use that if you are, for example, going on a big trip to Europe. You might want to create a folder, and within that folder you can then create separate albums, for example, for each country. But I tend to just create albums and then I have them each individually. So I would probably just make an album for Germany, an album for France, and so forth. If you happen to have a Mac computer, you can put them into folders once you've created them, but you cannot do that on your iPhone, at least not right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at creating a new album. I'm just going to tap that. When I tap that, you see it gives me a drop down to put a title in for the album. And I'm going to just do that by doing the word temp. That way I know I can get rid of it. When I'm done with the title that I want to put in, I'm going to do the word save. And now I have a new album. And what it's done, it's taken me to my photos, to my recents, to select some pictures to go into that new album I've created. So all I have to do to put things into this album right now is to touch on them in this screen over here. And as you can see, I can scroll down. As I scroll, it moves down, and I can just randomly select pictures that I want to put into that particular album. When I have selected all of the pictures I want to put in the album, or at least a starting point, I can go ahead and say add. If I go up to the little add at the top right here, it will put them in that album. So now I have created my new temp album. I have more than one temp here, as you can see, but this is the one I just created. And I know that because that was the first picture I tapped. So I'm going to show you what that looks like now. I'm going to touch on that temp album, and it will show you the pictures that I included. If I later decide I want to add more pictures to that album, I can just go down here to the little plus, and when I tap on it, it again opens up that recents album so that I can add additional things to it. Since I'm not in the process of doing that right now, I'm just going to cancel, and I go back to my album. So that's really all there is that you need to know about creating an album. So once I have gotten all of the pictures in there that I want, if I decide there is a picture that I need to remove, there are a couple of ways you can go about removing it. If you just touch the picture and you open it, you'll see that at the bottom right hand corner there is a little trash can. You can use that to delete it. Or I'm just going to hold my finger on this for a while. Give it a pretty firm contact here and just hold it, and you'll see there's a pop-up which gives me a lot of options, including delete or remove from album. In this case, I just want to remove it from the album. I do not want to delete it, because deleting it will actually delete it from my phone. This will just remove it from the album. These albums really just work because the phone puts a little pointer in that album that says show this picture, and it points back to something that's in your recents. So we're not duplicating the picture in order to put it in the album. So it's not taking more memory on your phone. You're just removing it from that album or putting it in the album with a pointer. So it's very easy to manipulate these any way you want them, and it doesn't really cost you anything in terms of memory on your phone. If you do in fact hit the delete key though, the delete down here, it will in fact delete it from your phone and you will not have that photo anymore. So do be careful when you're moving these around. You can also add it to another album from here if you want to put it into a different album or duplicate it. This is a way to do it. Just add it to another album as well. So there are several things you can do with it here. Again, that's something you can do with it even when it's back in the recents, but it's what I use a lot when I am just trying to move things around or manipulate them within an album. So I'm going to get out of that now. So here I am back at my albums. I'm just now going to go back to our albums by just touching up here at the top. And this gets me back to my album pages. Again, as you can see, I have built them for a number of things, and we're going to come back to why that is valuable in a few minutes, but it's really the way you organize your pictures yourself in the Photos album. In addition to that, I have the shared albums, and I'm going to show you how that works. Remember, that's the little plus when we did that. Part of the drop down was a new shared album. If I create a shared album, what that does is allow me to share it with anybody who has an iCloud account. It works best, of course, with other people who have iPhones or who have an iPad or a Mac computer, but it does allow that sharing. So I have a lot of shared albums that I have made, either as in the case when I'm trying to share pictures with somebody in my class, or when I've been on a family weekend. As you can see, Lake Weekend 2024, somebody else created that album and shared it with me. The beauty of shared albums is anybody who is included in that album can add pictures to it. So I'm going to just open this one that I had shared with me, and you can see that I still have the little plus sign down here. So although I did not create this album, I can share the pictures that I took from that weekend with everybody who signs up in this group. When you're in one of these albums, you have a little shared sign, and this is whether you're creating it or somebody else is. You have a little icon up here. It looks like a person with a check mark on it. And if I touch that, it will give me the names of all the people who are signed up to receive those pictures. And it also gives me the option to add other people, especially for ones that I have created. So when I'm creating one, I try to go ahead and do that invitation for them to join it. The people on the other end will either get a little pop-up that tells them, a notification that tells them they've got one and they can accept it right there. If it goes to their email, if you have the notification by email, it will go to their email. They just need to accept being a part of that album, and then it's going to show up in their phone, assuming again that they are on iCloud. It's going to show up in their phone, and they can just go to it. They can see all of the pictures that anybody else has uploaded. Again, I use it a lot with a family when we have family events, if we get together for a holiday, or we're out all together on a weekend, or if I'm with friends and it's just a memorable occasion. Just a good time to go ahead and take some pictures and make sure they're shared with everybody. And again, my goal in this is to make sure that everybody gets a chance to see the pictures of all of us together, and we can sort of keep them as a little album. I can go back to them anytime. And again, I'm going to show you in a minute other things you can do with these albums. In fact, I'm just going to tap. I'm just going to go ahead and tap the little ellipsis, the little three dots and you can see when I tap that, it will allow me to add photos, share photos, but I can't delete them. They're not my pictures, so I can't delete them. But I could unsubscribe if I did not want to keep on getting the notifications about that album. If I've already seen them and I'm tired of it, I can just exit from that. So just tap anywhere to get rid of that. If I touch on any picture that I have in there, it will allow me to copy it or to share it as well. So I can manipulate some pictures even though they are not they're not ones that I have put on there. Okay, let's get out of that again. So that's how you create your own albums and your shared albums. Again, I would make a regular album if I'm doing it for myself, for my own use. or if I'm going to be collecting pictures to use like in a slideshow or something, then I want to keep them in my own album. If I'm with a group and I want to share them immediately with a lot of people, or if I'm in a situation, maybe somebody has just had a new baby and they take pictures, create a shared album to share all the pictures of their new baby, that's another kind of thing it can be used for. So those are ones that you can create yourself. Now, Apple has tried very hard to guess what you might also want to have albums of. And one thing they do is the people, pets, and places. So I just scroll down a little bit below my shared albums and I see the people, pets, and places. If I tap on that, it gives me a lot of identified names from pictures. If I tap on any one of those, it will pull up all of the pictures that I have in my phone that it can identify by facial identification as being that person. So I identified my youngest granddaughter, Kate, one time, and now it has gone through and tried to find every picture of Kate that I have. So I'm just going to tap on her, the picture of her that's identified there, and you see it pulls up an album called Kate Stroud, and it has all of the pictures that it can find where she is one of the people in the picture. So that's something that Apple is doing for you, so you can find pictures of any given person. It also does that with places. If I tap on the one that was places, you can see it shows just, and this one shows just 3 different places. Mostly those are in the Northwest for me. They are in Texas, and I think those others are probably somewhere like Oklahoma, fairly near, no, even farther east. It must be from a trip I made to the Atlanta area. As I expand the map out, you can see it divides those pictures further. It keeps looking to make them in as many locations as it can. So you can pretty much figure out where those pictures are from. So I have some pictures, say maybe from Glacier National Park, and I have 45 pictures that are in the Glacier National Park area. Probably if I keep on expanding that, it'll divide those out for different parts of Glacier National Park. So that's just a way to do it. If I tap on those, it will then show me all of those pictures from that particular location in the park. So it's a really good way that Apple has used to allow you to sort your pictures in a way that are meaningful to you. So those are the two categories that we have in here. In addition, they have given you an album by media types. And years and years ago, they used to try and create separate albums for each of these, but they finally just made a list of them. So these are really albums, but they are an album of all your videos or all your selfies, of all your live photos, of portraits. So any way that you can take a picture or manipulate a picture, it creates a new album of those things for you. So if you're trying to find your time-lapse picture, it's easy to go down here and find it. If you're trying to find your slow-mo pictures, you can do scenes, you can do that here again. Those are videos. The ones that are taken as live photos are a separate category. So all of those things are available to you as separate categories in this automatic sorting that Apple does for you. So I'm going to get out of that again. I'm just going to use the scroll back up to the top. But I want to go down here to the bottom again. We've been looking at this particular icon, and I'm going to just move one to the left of that. This is the For You icon. And again, this is Apple trying to figure out what you might want to have as an album. And it will set up those pictures as an album, or it will also set them up as a video. So sometimes if you have enough pictures in it, it will automatically create an album for you. So there's one called Oregon and Montana 2010 trip. So 19 trips. So it just went through, found all my pictures from that trip, and if I tap it, it will open a slideshow of that. And it's going to just go through all of those pictures and play some music for me. I'm going to stop it now, but that's the idea. If you try it on your own phone, you'll see that it has done that for every one of these categories that are in there. And you can, of course, create your own as well, which I'm going to show you in just a second. So it is doing this for you. When it does create one, it puts music to them. It'll organize the pictures different ways, just depending on how you have it, how it thinks you might want it to be set up. So let's go back for a minute. Oops, sorry. I'm going to go back to photos. As I say, Apple is trying to set these up for you so that they will be of most use to you. So I'm going to go back to an album again. I'm going to go back to our, let's just go back to our little temp album. I don't think I have enough pictures in here for this to work, so I'm going to just do the little plus, and I'm going to add, a few more pictures of some random things. I don't want to add those. So by just running my fingers across them, I can highlight a whole bunch at once. So I'm just going to add a bunch more. It doesn't really matter what they are. I just want to show you what it's like. So I've added some more pictures to that album. So I now have a bigger selection in that album. When I go up to the top right and I do that tap on the little ellipsis with the 3 dots and a circle, I can now go down and I can see it will play a memory video or it can play a slideshow. So by doing that, it's going to create that album. It's going to decide how to structure the pictures. It's going to put music to it. You can manipulate these yourselves, but be aware that it will do that for you. So if you had a bunch of pictures like I did from a holiday, you open that and go to that little 3 dots in the top right, and it's going to let you put on a slideshow of them. If you are casting that to a new TV, and most new TVs are capable of receiving cast directly from an iPhone, you can just put that up on your big TV screen for everybody who is around. So maybe next time you get together, you'll show what happened last time you got together and just let it run on your TV or something like that. Or if you want to go back and you have a bunch of scanned pictures from a long time ago, you might want to go ahead and put them in your, move them to your iCloud account and let it set up the slideshow for you. Of course, you can always do it yourself, but this is just a way to let Apple do it for you and save you a lot of work. So that's really the key pieces of, for me, of the albums thing. I do, however, want to show you one more thing. If you go to the bottom in that third icon, the first one on the left side, and I go to that, this allows me to see my pictures sorted by years, months, days. So if I know approximately when a picture was taken, I can go back to that year. I can go within that year. If I tap it, it will do it automatically, but it will automatically switch, you see, from years to months when I tap on it. If I take a monthly one and tap on it, it will go down to days, and it will sort it by which were the earliest or latest in that particular group of pictures. So you can also, if you are trying to manipulate the way pictures appear in an album, you can do that. I'm going to just go in here back to my temp again. Let's say I thought, hey, this is a great set of pictures, but I really would like them to be in a different order. If I again go back up to my little three dots up there in the top right corner, you'll see that it says add photos, share photos, sort photos. So I want to sort them, and when I tap on that, it gives me a choice of oldest to newest, newest to oldest, or some custom order. If I do custom order, that allows me to rearrange those pictures to put them anywhere else in the album. I do not have to leave them in the order that they were selected in, or the order in which they were taken, or anything else. I can make that choice later on. So you don't have to be too concerned about the order in which you put things into an album, even if you are later going to run it as a slideshow or something. So again, be aware that that capability exists. It's just a matter of organizing things and getting them in a place where you can work with them. So I think that's pretty much it for albums. I will tell you, you can also do one other thing. I have not talked about this last little icon over here. You can search your albums for any particular thing, and you can see it again went back to giving me many of those choices. It gives me the 1 year ago kind of thing. It gives me the people and pets thing that we talked about. It gives me the places I talked about. It gives me categories of things it thinks I might want to have a slideshow of. It has groups. So it's just a tremendous number of options in there. I think anybody who is working with an iPhone and is really working with their photos will want to go in, take a look at that, and see what they can do with it. And just to piggyback a little bit on that, and one last thing, I guess. I keep saying one last thing, but this one is sort of important. I'm going to go back to my album again. If I have a picture, what I can do is take that picture, and when I open it up, if I just hold it, my finger on the picture and slide up, I can get to something where I can add a caption to the picture. I'm going to try to show you that. I'm going to try to show you that. Let's put it that way. I'm going to put my finger on a picture. When I open the picture, you're going to see that it says add a caption. When I just slid up a little bit on the picture, it says add a caption. I can tap in there and type whatever I want to about that picture, the name of my great aunt or something. And then later on, when I'm trying to search, that little search icon that we saw in the albums will let me search for that great aunt. So I can also search for it that way. It's another way of searching. So if you put captions in there that are meaningful to you, you can go back and search by those captions. So that's about it for the Photos app. I hope this has been helpful to you, and you'll have a little better idea of how you can organize your photos by using your own albums or by using shared albums, and that there are some ways that you can play them back to look at either on your screen here, on a Mac screen, or to cast them to one of the newer TVs that lets you cast directly to them. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and if so, that you maybe come back and take a look at some of the other videos I have on iPhone. So thank you very much.